This is a third video in a series of videos over exercises that I think are good to use to improve your ability to do your Tai Chi forms, but also to improve your overall general health. So they're either based on strength, mobility, or balance, or a combination of those things. So today we're going to look at like at least 3 or 4 pieces. And most of all of these, I can use the door frame. Again, no one stressed that enough. Everybody's got a door frame in their house. Maybe it's not the most ideal spot to do some of these things. But even if you have like maybe a patio in the backyard, you know, and you have the post for the support the roof, those you can hold on to. Or maybe you've got a deck around the back of your house, you know, with a railing. You can do a lot of these from that railing as well. Okay, so if your stability and your strength is just not where you want it, please use something to help to support yourself as you strengthen yourself more. But you want to, with these exercises, it's okay to rely on those things, but try to get to the point where you have to less and less, and it will, so you really get something out of it. So the first one we're going to do is, you can say, call it a 7-star stance or a sit-back stance, but we're going to say I'm here in something like a forward stance. We call this a bow stance or a mountain climbing stance. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to lift the ball of this foot, and I'm going to sink my weight back into this leg. This way. Now some will try to keep their posture like this, but just let the hip is going to want to roll forward a little, and just keep the posture correct and let everything go together. Doing like this, it kind of throws me backwards and will put a lot of pressure in this knee. I actually have less pressure in the knee doing like this. See kind of how my hip, everything is lined up. So this is a good exercise to do for the quadriceps and the calf muscles. Now this front leg, don't block it like this, right? So when I roll back, you see where my knee is now? As I roll back, I'm going to do it like this. So I don't put any more in my knee than I have to. And then when I go back forward, see? Minimal movement. I didn't force into the knee. And if you can, again, if I was, doing it in the door frame, holding the door frame, I can roll back, forward, go back. And this is done throughout the Tai Chi forms. You can also use say a wall like this, right where that, maybe you've got that railing, or like a deck around your backyard, or maybe in your kitchen you have like one of those islands, and you can put your hand on it maybe. But just here, just something to give you a little support. And if I can do 1 or 5 or 10 or 3 sets of 10, it doesn't matter. What matters is that I'm getting in some movement. And again, this directly relates into your forms. The better I can do this movement, then when I put it back in my form, it makes the whole form look better. The next is a bow stance to knee down. You can also call this in reality like a reverse lunge. We're going to do it in a static position first, meaning like I'm going to do it this side. So here's my bow stance, and I'm going to leave this knee alone and this leg. And I need to be sure that I'm far enough back. The reason why is I'm going to put my leg down first, do it like this on this side. I want to make sure that I can get this alignment. If I do this and my foot is too narrow, and I force into my knee like this, and it goes, the alignment has changed, I'm going to put a lot of pressure in the knee. I'm not trying to leave the knee on the ground, but I'm trying to discuss this with you, so I'm doing it like that. So I want to make sure that it's far enough back. And look, you can do it This low, this low, this low. Somewhere in there. This is also good for when you extend the leg. You get a good stretch in the Achilles and getting the muscles in the lower leg. But if this is all I can do at first, and I can do 2 or 5 or 10, and then I get better. I can go lower. If you're afraid that you may lose the stability point and smack your knee into the ground, get you a pillow, or you can get those pieces of foam puzzle mats, or like the garden section in the summertime. They'll have these strips of it like that. It's got a handle, so if you're working in the garden, you can put your knees on it and keep them off the ground. So again, I'm here, and I'm going to drop it down. So how is this different than a reverse lunge? The reason why I don't recommend doing a forward lunge, now that you've got a lot of control and you can be really aware of the mechanics of the movement. What I mean by that, if I do a forward lunge, a lot of people will do like this, and they'll drive into the knee. Okay, they'll step back and they're doing this over and over. Well, if your knees aren't good, or you've had some type of an injury, it's not really the best thing. You want to be able to know that distance that you need to step out. So when you do the action, it ends up like this. Now, doing it as a forward lunge, you can directly put that into your Tai Chi, meaning, when I step out in Tai Chi, again, I don't want to be like this. I want to be here, right? Now, that might not be for your Tai Chi that you do, but for the Chong Tai Chi, I really want to save my knees. So, but again, if I know how far to step out, that I can be like this, that's great. But reverse lunge kind of takes that away with them. I don't want to do the reverse lunge with my knees straight. I want to have them a little bent. So then when I step back with either or leg, see, it keeps it where I need it to be. Step back, step out, step back, step out. Now, I can add the knee drop, right? So I step back, drop the knee, straighten it back, come back, drop the knee, come back. Good for the legs, and then get a lot out of it with just a few reps, or a set or two. We're going to look at something similar to this, and so this is a kind of a unique posture in a sense to the things that I teach. We call this a marching stance. So instead of being like a bow stance where the foot is facing this way, I turn it out. I still have this alignment though, right? But if I step through, the foot's going to turn, right? And again, I want to try to keep the knee over the foot. I don't want to roll it out like that. It's bad. Some people do that. But I need to keep this alignment. See? We're going to do it just like we did the other piece. So we're going to kind of have our static position. Make sure this leg is far enough back, and then we're going to bend this knee. And this will work different aspects of your upper legs and not so much the rear leg, it's going to be kind of the same, but it'll work much more on the inside of the leg and the supporting stuff around the knee. It's a real good move. So again, I can go all the way this far to the ground, or just bend it this far, right? I can be here, or here, or all the way down here. And it's also great if you can hold it, right? So if I get here and I count at 1, 2, then I come back. Back down, 1, 2, and I come back. That's a good way to kind of get more out of it. And so we have one more to do. And if you look at this move, the way it looks, right? But we did this going forward. So the move we're going to do now, in Tai Chi, a lot of times it's called resting stance. In Swajiao, we would call it like a stealing stance. So I'm going to be here, and look, I can do it narrow like this. But I can also do it real big like this. Okay? So we're going to be here, and we're going to step with this leg. And like this, and look, I don't want to round the back. I want to kind of be here. And then look, I'm going to turn. Step, turn, step, turn, step, turn, step, turn, step, turn. This is great for your balance. A lot of people tend to, when they check your own self, when they say there's something and they want to get it over here, they will lean the body out like this, and it'll affect your stability and your balance and all that. But when I do this, even though when I stepped here and my body's kind of in this line, when I go to turn, I'm going to straighten me back up. See? We also have stepping across the front, so you can call that a cover step. So as I'm here, I'm going to bring this foot across and turn. 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 So you got stepping behind and stepping across the front. So just be careful with those two moves. If you have stability issues, they're easier to lose your balance. If you can use something like again, you've got a railing at a deck or something you can put your hands on. I'm here like this, I can turn, and I can keep my hands somewhat on the wall, right? I can do the stepping across, good, and then back here again. Yeah. Yeah. You can do it with a door frame, maybe a little harder. You can keep the hands on both sides though, like in this fashion. But it's a little difficult, right? When you're doing stuff like this. But those are great, that kind of twisting action. Just remember, our knees and hands, we don't want to do this kind of stuff. Be sure that you're turning your feet, right? See, I'm here, and I don't want to try to twist I want to turn with the feet. Like that. So anyway, a little review real fast. We were here, and we did this kind of sit back piece, right? And again, easy to do with a door frame or a railing or something to that effect. And then we had a kind of a static lunge, and we just bent the knee however much we can, but we want to try to keep it in alignment. And with that same piece, right, you can do the lunge, but be sure when you step out, it's heel toe, and then you're stepping out far enough that you're not pushing into the knee, right? Here like this, right? Like if you do it with the ball of the foot, you almost invariably always do this. Or you step out and it's not wide enough, and you travel into the knee. Yes, you can do that, but there's a lot of people with weak knees or bad knees or arthritic knees, and it's better to start at that base, right? Everybody start at that base. We don't want to create issues or exacerbate a chronic issue. And then we have doing it backwards, right? And again, So if I did do it and I stepped out and bend, I'll bring it back, right? I do the other side. If I do it backwards, again, don't do it with your legs straight, because when you go back, you'll drive into the knee. Go ahead and have the knee bent. And so then when I step back, my body just falls into the piece. And then from here, as I step, I bend. I straighten, I bring it back. I step back, I bend, I bring it back, I step up. And then we have the twisting, right? So either I'm stepping behind, a stealing stance, and I rotate, or a cover step, I step across, and I turn. Remember those two right there? If you're uncomfortable to step backwards or maybe to make big moves, those two would be hard. You know, I wouldn't want anybody to hurt themselves. So be sure that you're really aware of it and you feel like you're ready to do those. So that's it for this set. I will say that I have some videos over squatting, right? Or squats using a chair and being out here, right? It's so important. If you looked at it with the door, right? But then again, I'm sitting and I want to be able to not use my hands to help me to stand up, but I want to be able to use the muscles in my core, in my legs to stand me up. Now, if you do this, don't do it this way, okay? If you're like this, don't push into your knee to stand you up. See what I mean? Don't be like this. Don't do this to get up. I want to do it from flat like this, and I want to use this to make me rise. And don't put your hands on your legs to help you. It's ingrained in everybody, but be conscious of it. You know, try not to use your hands to help you in that way, but just from a cold start, right? I'm here, and just drive up. And if you think lifting the crown, it will help greatly. Now, if you can do that, and you can do it well, then you should be able to do them to the ground. And look, again, I'm going to do that same thing. I'm not going to push into my knees, but I'm going to set. You can stay here and relax, or bring yourself back up. And I like to let the whole of my body relax when I do things like this. So when I go down, I just let the whole body go. Relax the back. And then just roll me back up. You don't have to, you can think of that as this is more of an exercise. Doing that is letting the whole body open up, letting the whole body relax, and then coming back up from that. Here in the US or in the West, we're always sitting in chairs. There's a lot of people in other countries, chairs are, we'll say they're used, but they're not used as often, or the way that the restrooms are set up, we'll say, right? There's more squatting, but that's a natural movement. You know, if there's no reason why a 70-year-old Chinese person can squat naturally like that, because they're used to doing this, and a 70-year-old Western person. Yes, it may be difficult because you never do that all the time, and they do, but it still is doable, meaning the age is the same. I will say this, if you're taller, you may have to turn your feet out, or you don't have we'll say the flexibility inside of the legs or in the back. I'm pretty good at doing it straight ahead like this, just being able to go down. Like I said, you may need to turn the feet out because you've got really long legs, or your torso is shorter, or it's longer, or your legs are longer or shorter. It's the mechanics of it, of your body. And in other words, don't force yourself that you have to be like this. If when you go down, your legs roll out, great, that's fine. But just make sure that when you go down, when I do this, I want to be able to breathe. I want to be able to, we'll say, not feel like my body is like bound up or tight or something like that. I wanted to let it relax, especially my back. And then I'll bring myself back up. And doing these type of exercises, and then the loosening exercises that we do in Chong Taiji and in Master Chong's Squajao, I really don't even stretch. I mean, I honestly don't. And You know, I mean, no problem. I don't stretch, but I do loosening exercises. I do these types of exercises, and I do my Taiji. And the additional exercises that go along with the squat jump. And there's no reason for me to spend 15 minutes stretching. I'm constantly doing things to loosen up my body, especially, you know, the back and the hamstrings. Those are two problematic areas for people when they get tight. But the more that I do, even these kind of exercises that we're working on today, right, I just work on things for my form. My body is going to become more loose and relaxed, you know, the tension will go away, the joints, the stiffness will go away, the dexterity in your feet will come back, and your body and your hands. So anyway, I hope I made that make sense. So thank you for watching the video.